What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. If you guys saw my previous video, you'll know that we recently picked up the A7C. Back in October of 2020, Sony released the A7C, making it the world's smallest full frame camera at the recording of this video. The reason why we got this camera is because my fiance wanted to have a camera whenever we travel. She wanted to be able to take pictures and do all that other good stuff. And since I shoot with the A7 III, I have all of these full frame lenses, and just being able to switch back and forth with our lenses on both camera bodies is just kind of a no-brainer for us. And plus, I'm gonna be using this camera as like an overhead rig or as a second shooter or something like that. So it just was a natural selection almost for us, for me, for my kit, and for her. Now the A7C is a more compact version of the A7 III, hence the C at the end of the A7 part, which probably more than likely stands for compact or condensed or cute. It does come in two different colors. It comes in black and also comes in black and silver. Obviously, we went with the black and silver. We wanted to have that retro vibe. Now, the specs for this camera are pretty much the same as the A7 III, but with a little bit of some improvements. So the A7 III is an E-mount. It has a 24.2 megapixel image sensor with a maximum resolution of 6,000 by 4,000. Has a ISO range of 100 to 51,200, but it can get expanded to ISO 50 on the lower end and 204,800 ISO on the higher end. It does shoot 10 frames per second in continuous burst mode, and it has a maximum shutter speed of 1/4000th of a second. It has 8-bit color 420. It shoots 4K footage at 24 and 30p, shoots 1080 footage at 60p and 120p, and has the real-time tracking autofocus system for both human and animal eye recognition. It also has 5-axis in-body stabilization and weighs a whopping 509 grams or 1.12 pounds. Okay, so we're gonna start off with the pros about this camera. The first thing right off the bat that I noticed is that it's super lightweight. With lighter cameras, most of the time you're going to be more apt to take this thing with you. And Sony has recently released the 24mm, 40mm, and the 50mm lenses that are designed to go onto this camera and then keep the form factor really small. We didn't even know that was actually coming out when we bought this, but then when we got it, people started doing reviews about it not even a week later, and we were like, perfect purchase. Hello, that is awesome. With that being said, about it being really lightweight, just a quick little negative in regards to that is that yes, it does feel like a toy, but it's small in my hands, and I had like a massive death grip on this thing. It was either because it was just so light and I was afraid to drop it, or it was kind of small. You do have this handle, which is a little bit smaller and not as girthy as the A7 III, which is what I am used to. But either that, or it's the fact that it's my fiance's camera and I just did not really want to drop this thing. Another cool thing that this camera has is that it moved the record button to the top. In the A7 III, the record button is kind of right behind the EVF, and you have to like jam your finger in there to be able to press the record button. And with this, you can flip out the screen and then hold it out in front of you and press record. You can press record to stop it, and then you will be able to have easier access to that, which is a huge perk. And speaking of looking at the screen, we have a fully articulate screen on this thing, and it's awesome. So you can flip it around, in either direction. Obviously, it comes completely off the back of the camera, unlike I think it was the A6600, where it kind of popped out in the back, and if you wanted to put a microphone on here, it kind of got in the way, which was a little bit defeating the purpose of having that screen. But that was just so much better to have it this way. I really wish the A7 III had this. It would be perfect, but whatever. It also has improved tracking like animals or even people. When I was out shooting, we were out camping a couple of weeks ago, and I was able to take pictures of my dog while he was just kind of running around, and it just stuck on his face. I got more in focus shots with this camera than I have with my A7 III. I mean, and I've gotten a lot of in focus shots with my A7 III, but I could see a huge improvement with this camera. The auto tracking on this was always on point. This kind of goes with the auto tracking, but you can fine tune the tracking speed. Now, I practiced my ninja moves in front of the camera the other day, and it would constantly, rack back and forth between my face, my hands, the camera, it was the responsive speed of being able to rack focus back and forth was really amazing, and you can fine tune that. It could be a lot slower, it could be really responsive, or it could be right in the middle of the road. It's depending on whatever your situation is. Also, it has no record limit, like none. When I'm dealing with the A7 III, which, like I said, I am filming on the A7 III right now, I have 30 minutes to do this before it cuts off. This little bad boy does not have that. You just plug it in, let it go, your battery dies, or you run out of memory. One of the two. That's it. And it doesn't overheat. Now I know that's a kind of a concern about it from a lot of people, but it doesn't. And I had it on the entire time while we were out hiking. I did run the battery down, but it didn't overheat, and I just kept filming. And that's huge, especially if you're wanting to do YouTube videos, you're wanting to do talking heads, or you're just really wanting to go and vlog with this camera. Keep in mind that you can go until you either kill your battery or you run out of room on your memory card. And speaking of the battery is the exact same battery as the one that is in the A7 III. It is the Z battery, which is fantastic. We were really lucky. They gave us an extra battery when we bought this thing. So now we have 4 batteries. Yes, please. Thank you. Now, I haven't actually personally tested this out because I don't have an external monitor, but you can plug an external monitor up to this camera, and the autofocusing or the face tracking and the eye focus doesn't stop. And then also the screen doesn't go black as well. Like most people were having that issue with the A7 III, which is a big thing because I really want a monitor and so that I can see what it is that I'm doing. But that was a reason why I never got the monitor, was because it would just crap out with the autofocus from my face. And what's the point in having a video if my face isn't in focus? Okay, so you guys, if you've watched my channel, you do know that I am an outdoorsy person, and I'm living in Vancouver. I'm either in the snow, in the rain, out in the woods, doing something. There's some sort of condition here in Vancouver that I'm usually in. So having gear that is weather sealed is a big thing for me. And the A7C is weather sealed, just like the A7 III is. And that was just a must for me. Also, speaking of being weather sealed, the doors on this, oh my God, improved port doors. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. They're tighter. It snaps in, you can hear that snap. You can hear that snap? Oh, satisfying. Okay, now all the good stuff aside, we gotta kind of move over to the bad stuff. There are a few things about this camera that do bug me. There isn't a scroll wheel up front. Like I can't adjust my shutter speed or aperture with the 2 wheels that I'm used to on the front and on the back. They have removed this. I don't really know why Sony removed this. It doesn't make sense to me. They could have enough room to put that there. That bugs me. But the D-pad, or the little circular pad in the back, is another adjustment wheel, and it takes a little bit of getting used to. I do find that when I use this for about an hour, everything is just muscle memory is kind of happening, and it's easy to switch back and forth. But the moment that I try to switch to my A7 III, I'm all like fumbling around, and it's just put put the wheel back on the front. It does also have the same menu setup as the A7 III. That is, it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing. If you are coming from the A7 III, then you can just dive right on into the menu and kind of figure out what it is that you need to set up and fix, and then you're off to the races, and you don't have a lot of downtime trying to like figure out what you need to change. However, if you were new to the Sony like ecosystem, that menu system sucks. It's just really kind of hard to navigate. I really wish they would have updated it. When I got into the Sony system, yeah, it was kind of a pain in the butt, but when I got used to it, I was used to it. It was fine. Okay, so this irks the crap out of me. The EVF, the electronic viewfinder. When I'm wanting to shoot with this thing, or just with any camera, I lift it up to my face and I want to look in the middle, not over to the side. And it's super tiny, and the resolution in this thing is really kind of blurry. I really couldn't see what I was wanting to take pictures of. If you wear glasses like I do, and I'm just shooting pictures around the house or I'm doing whatever, I can't see squat in this thing. I mean, seriously, I have no idea why they made this viewfinder so shitty. Sorry, but damn. When I was taking pictures, I really didn't use the EVF all that much. I actually just ended up using the LCD screen most of the time, which most people probably are using that anyway. But there is sometimes you just want to put the camera to your eye, take the pictures, but it's really not the greatest. That is one of my biggest gripes about this camera. Now the A7C is also missing the little joystick that we have on the back of the A7 III. I use that thing all the time. And I constantly found myself hunting for it. Every time I was trying to take a picture or being able to switch my focus zones, I just kind of kept fumbling around trying to figure out how to move stuff around, and that kind of like really slowed down my productivity. Now, lastly, the last two things that kind of are a bit of a bummer is one, that it doesn't have a lot of customizable buttons. I'm used to having a few things programmed just really at my fingertips. I can quickly change a lot of settings with my customizable buttons, but there's very few on here. There are some on here, but not as many as the A7 III or any of the other full frame cameras from Sony. And lastly, it only has one card slot. I guess they're trying to save size. I get it. But basically what that's just going to mean is you're going to have a larger memory card so that you can store all your video and your photos on there when you're out and about doing whatever with your camera. All right, so who is this camera actually for? This is a very light camera. It is a full frame camera. It is a fantastic camera. I got wonderful photos out of this. The videos are great. The IBIS in this thing, not so great, but if you put it on a gimbal, it's gonna be fine. It will be great as an overhead rig because I'm gonna be using that. It'll be great for when you're going hiking because it's like 5.9 grams, which is like 1.12 pounds. So it's pretty lightweight. Now, would I recommend this to anybody coming from a crop bodied camera into a full frame body camera? Absolutely. It is $200 cheaper than the A7 III. Is it worth the $300 or the $200 less? And you get a little bit more perks or a little bit more customizable things or more options to change all your settings with the A7 III? I don't know. That's really depending on you. One of the things I have to kind of like preference is that me as a photographer and me dealing with my A7 III, I am used to certain things. But if you are not used to using those things, then you're not going to miss it. This is a really good camera. I really enjoyed using it. It was very familiar to me. It was very easy to use, even though I did have a few qualms with the whole thing. Like most other YouTubers and people who are talking about this camera and then they have the gripes, you keep in mind we're using other Sony cameras and they took some of the settings away, so we missed that. But you, as a consumer just trying to buy this, I'm sure you're watching tons of other reviews about this camera, then, you know, don't let that deter you from getting this camera. Just keep that in mind. What we need out of this camera might not be what you need, and vice versa. Maybe you need more. Maybe you want to get with the A7 III. Maybe you want to get the A7S III if you're wanting to do more film work. But this camera, if you're wanting to take it traveling, knocking around town, you want to do any of that, this is a good video camera and a good photography camera. You will not be disappointed. So guys, if you got anything out of this video, if this helped you make your decision, please give me a like on this video. It really helps me out. Subscribe if you are not already. I talk about camera gear, go on hikes and adventures and all sorts of goofy stuff. I'd greatly appreciate it. And hit the bell so you get notified whenever I post new videos. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. And I don't wanna, yeah. All right, see y'all later. Bye.